Otherwise, the story is too big and needs to be split out into multiple stories or multiple units of work. Okay? That is the one rule that is hard. Well, not one rule. That is one of the few rules in Agile that cannot be broken. A story, your unit of work, has to fit within a single sprint, your unit of time. If not, you got to work to refine that story and make it so that it can be applied in one sprint. You know, it means you have to kind of like rethink it, rewrite it, and then you split it out. So now, here's the thing. Here's where we start to get a little bit more specialized into Agile. When I tell you that a story describes a new feature that is being added, you're like, all right, this is where I get to talk about, you know, like the database, you know, diagram I'm going to create, and I'm going to write this query, and then I'm going to write this code. Like this is, you know, like this is where I get to talk about my code and everything else I'm going to test and all that stuff. Not quite. Not quite. We're not there yet. Not quite there yet. So stories have a specific format that you want to write them in, that you're required to write them in. There are some variations that, you know, you're going to have to adjust to within your companies or within your teams. But what I have up on the screen here is a format of how you write stories. So it's as a blank, I want to blank so that blank. And it is, the format is as a role. What role are you playing? Are you a DBA? Are you a data scientist? Are you a QA specialist? Are you a documentation specialist? I want to create a database schema, create a test for an algorithm, collect some data, right? So that I can have an effective database storage. I can create documentation to send to the client. I can deploy a new server in our test environment, whatever the case may be, right? You have to follow this format. Again, there are some variations. I have seen some teams that will only use the first two portions as a, and then I want to. They'll drop the so that, because for some people consider the I want to repetitive, or I want to can usually capture the so that. It's up, you know, again, you're gonna have to make adjustments to however your individual situation works. But this here is the generally accepted format for how to write a story. All stories have to follow this format. Now, I get it. I get it. If this is your first time working with Agile, this format can seem a little bit rigid or a little bit too prescriptive, and that's okay. That's okay. The beauty of this format is that it makes more sense the more you use it. The more you use it, the more this makes sense. And the easier it'll get. And for me, the more I use it and like the more I actually write with it, the project just kind of like reveals itself, you know? Because by writing one story that you need, you start getting into other stories like, oh yeah, if I'm gonna do that, I also need this. Let me create that one. Oh yeah, and then that and then I need this, and I need this, and then this, right?